I listened to ABBA's new album, Voyage. And before I get into a review, kind of track by track of the album, I do want to give a couple of points of what I thought heading into listening to this album. So in September, they released the first two songs along with the live stream that announced the album and the tour and all of that. And when I first heard these songs, I got a little concerned about how the album was going to be because honestly, in my opinion, I didn't really like them that much. Now, many people really did like these songs, and so it's kind of the opposite of what kind of progressed as the album got released. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Then eventually the third single came out, Just a Notion, and I thought for sure that was going to be the best song on the album, or my favorite song on the album, because the vocals were, old vocals that they had, and the rest of the album is them present day singing. And then the way the album was released, it was released by time zone, so other time zones got access to it before the US, most other time zones actually. And I was reading early reactions and reviews of the album, and they weren't promising. They were talking about how it wasn't quite what they were expecting, and pretty much just how not that great it was. So once I kind of took that and kept it in my mind going into it, so maybe that's the reason I like this album more than I guess some other people. Anyways, so the album came out and I put on headphones and started listening to it. And, I said that I didn't really like I Still Have Faith in You when it first dropped, but I don't know, something about the headphones and just the whole experience. It was really nice. I kind of escaped the world for the 37 minutes that this album took, and I thought it was really well done, but I understand why people aren't a big fan of it. But I really do like it. So as I was just kind of saying, in my opinion, you have to listen to this album with headphones on just to kind of take yourself elsewhere instead of kind of just, I don't know, sitting in a room. So another thought about this album as a whole, I have a little theory about the vocals. So some of the vocals did sound kind of aged, as it would if an older person was singing them. But some of it sounded really good. And so I think I have a theory about the vocals. There's obviously no way to know what order the songs were recorded in, but I know that I Still Have Faith in You was recorded first, and that was one of the lesser good sounding vocal performances, in my opinion. Some of the parts in there were nice, but I think the vocals progressively got better as they were deeper into the album process and recording the songs later and later, just because the girls in the group, they probably, I don't know exactly, but they probably have not recorded anything for a really long time, at least this intensely. It's an ABBA album, of course it's going to be kind of intense. So that's just a little theory I have, and maybe I'm right and maybe I'm not, but I don't know. So yeah, I Still Have Faith in You is one that most people who are interested in ABBA have probably heard. The second track, When You Danced With Me, this was one of my favorites. I really liked it. I'm kind of a sucker for basic folk melodies, but I think the melodies have been done really well. I'm going to get into that after I talk about the album, but I think When You Danced With Me, done very well. Next track, Little Things, the Christmas song on the album. It really sounds like a Christmas song. They really did nail the fact that it's a Christmas song. And that's all really my thoughts on that track. Don't Shut Me Down, a lot of people's favorite on the album. Not my favorite. I think it's fine, but I think there's, better songs on this album. Now there's these string sweeps in Don't Shut Me Down, and it sounds like something ELO would do. Maybe it's just because I'm a big ELO fan, but it kind of sounds like ELO. I don't know. And speaking of ELO, when we get down to Just a Notion, the guitar sounds sound exactly like the guitar sounds on ELO's newest album, which was released in 2019, From Out of Nowhere. Especially if you listen to the track Down Came the Rain by ELO, it sounds a lot like the guitars sound the same. It's kind of crazy. And it's also kind of interesting because I have no clue which was recorded first, because I presume that Jeff Lynne probably recorded his album in 2018, 2019, and ABBA have been recording this album since 2017. So it's just kind of interesting to think about. Oh, I will note this right now. Twice, I think, maybe more. I don't know, at least twice in the album, names are used. And I think that's a little cringe, but I don't know. Don't at me. I don't know. It only happens twice. It's not a big deal. I don't really care that much. And yeah, so I Can Be That Woman is the next song down the list, and that's one of the songs that does that. But I think the best vocals in this entire album by far are all the stacked big harmonies that happen. And some noticeable ones are in I Can Be That Woman, and then previously in When You Danced With Me, and sort of, yeah, other tracks too. But the harmonies, when they're all big and stacked, are just incredible sounding, especially when you take into account, their age. And then next song, Keep an Eye on Dan. A lot of people think this is reminiscent of their later '70s stuff. I think it's pretty good. I don't know. Dan is in that title, so that's literally another name drop in lyrics, which is like, but okay. Next track down, Bumblebee. This is, to me, the most insignificant, not insignificant, but like forgettable song, because I don't really remember much about it, but it's still a good song. All of these songs are good songs. Then track 9, No Doubt About It. I like this one. This is in my top 2 or 3 or 4 songs on the album. And the ending, I mean, it's cliche, the ending, how everything drops out and it's just vocals and there's no effects on any of the vocals and it's just that. But I like it. It sounds good. I don't know what else to say. And then the last track, Ode to Freedom, the ending of potentially ABBA's career. In track 10, like it's supposed to, as a final track of the album, wrap up their entire career. Now, I don't know necessarily if Ode to Freedom does that. I was kind of not satisfied with the way that ABBA ended. Like, if you're talking about based on the track list of the album, I don't know if this was the way to end it. But it's still a good song, and I like the arrangements and progressions throughout the whole album, and that's what I'm going to get into in just 1 second. But first, just some things on my list of things to talk about that I haven't touched yet. One of the things is that on this album, there is a little motif and a reference to one of ABBA's older songs. So if you have listened to this album and you think you know what it is, comment down below. And I don't know, you'll get brownie points if you guess what the song is that it's referencing and where it is in the album. And yeah, this album overall very orchestral, very grandiose in instrumentation at least. And I think the arrangements / the instrumentations are probably the second best part of this album. And there's one member of ABBA that kind of carried this entire album, and that is definitely Benny, because he is the one, at least I'm pretty sure that's what happened in this album, but he writes the melodies, and then Bjorn writes the lyrics, and then the girls sing. That's a very basic description of how it goes, but the melodies are incredible on this album. I think every single one of them subverts expectations in some kind of way, and it ends up just sounding really great. And same thing with the chord progressions as well, and arrangement building and all of that stuff. I think pretty much ABBA did a great job with most of all of this album. I think that makes sense. But yeah, like I was saying before, this is ABBA's last album, at least mostly according to them, because sometimes they say never, and sometimes they say, yeah, this is definitely the last one. But that still leaves the door open for like songs. So like I think maybe they haven't said no to making more music necessarily. I don't know. I think I kind of want them to release one last song that really encompasses their whole career and just, a big epic finale to end it all. I think that would be a strategic decision and it would be a very popular song. So that concludes this ABBA Voyage album review. If you want to see me review another album, leave it in the comments. Normally, I would kind of keep my videos to experiential videos, like videos about experiences. ABBA is a big part of my love for music, so that's why I kind of wanted to review this album. But if you have another album you want me to review, I'm open to it, so leave that in the comments if you want to. Like I said before, if you find the reference to one of ABBA's earlier songs that's in this album, then leave that in the comments. But thank you for watching if you watched up until this point, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.